Hi, my name is John Bauer, and this is my application for the community manager position posted by Idahosa Ness in his email blast. I want to start out by saying that Idahosa is one of my personal heroes, and I think his thoughts on language learning and freestyle rap are some of the most important things just for the human condition. Now, for the community manager position, I've grown up with the internet, so everything that has to do with online communication is just a part of, it's second nature to me. But it became more than that in the past year when I started developing a podcast, and I needed to use all these online platforms in order to develop the show and contact guests and just have this line of communication between me as the showrunner and potential listeners, people who are already listening, and potential guests. On top of that, the way that our show runs is a little strange because we live all over. We started the show as a group of friends, and I live in France. Some of the other people live in the US. We have our mixer who lives in Orlando, another one lives in New York City, and we have people who live in Japan, and we have someone else who's in China at the moment, so we're all over. And my job very quickly became just organizing the communication between everyone and making sure everyone's on the same page, which is incredibly difficult, but I find it very fulfilling. I like that kind of work with communication and making sure it's all structured properly. On top of that, it opened up some cool opportunities where now we're expanding because the original show runs fairly well, and I can look into doing things that just expand the creative aspects of audio, and at the same time just looking for more things that could potentially monetize our podcast. The other really cool thing that came out of all that is I've had cool things like an internship with mentorless.com, which is a big cinema blog. And also, some local French bands have started contacting me to help them with their international communication in particular, but everything that is community outreach and marketing. Which brings me to my schooling, because it's a little strange. So I have a BA from the University of South Florida in Tampa in International Studies with a certificate in Asian Studies. And I also studied abroad while there in South Korea and China. I actually ended up only spending about 2.5 years at the actual campus. The vast majority of the time that I was at USF, I was actually abroad. And I actually ended up graduating while I was in France, because I was able to fandangle it so that my senior year, my last few classes, I could all do online. Which brings me to France. I came to France and started my master's degree here, and it was a big ordeal figuring out things because I had never studied French and I didn't know anything about France. And so I came here, I learned very quickly that I couldn't stay here, and so I quickly needed to get into a French school, and I quickly needed to learn French. So in 3 months I passed the French proficiency test, and that allowed me to get into a school. The only problem is I accidentally got into French law school. And never mind American law school or anything, I didn't know anything about law. It was quite the experience. So after being confused for several months, I switched into another master's program, which was languages and international trade. And a part of this was that you had to know 3 languages, French, English, and then a third language, but it had to be a third European language. Now, I knew some other Asian languages, but I didn't know really any other European languages besides English and French. So I lied and said I knew Spanish, which is why I started using the Mimic Method course to kind of boost myself ahead. And then through that, I ended up going to Slovakia and doing an internship with an Esperanto organization and moving to Paris, where I finished my master's in trilingual management. But I quickly learned that I don't like the business world and would much rather do something that I consider more fulfilling, like this post. And so I'd be incredibly happy to have the opportunity to be the community manager for Idahosa Ness's new project. Thank you.